So this unit, we're talking about polar coordinates and also parametric functions. But let's start with polar coordinates. The polar coordinate system uses distances and directions to specify the location of a point in a plane. So all we need is the r, the radius, and theta, the angle. So anywhere we go. So the angle would be from here to wherever we land. Let's see, so that would be my angle. And the r would give me how far I'm going out from the center. So let's say we're at 3,45 degrees. So 45 degrees, here's 0, and there's 90. So 45 would be here. And 3 means I'm going out 3 steps. 1, 2, 3. So here's point A. 3, negative pi over 6. Okay, so let's see. Pi over 6 was at 30 degrees. So that would, whoops, I messed up. That is not, this is 45. This is 45. Okay, so 30 degrees would be here. Let's see, actually it'd be here, but I'm going negative. So that would move me to here. And out 3, so here. 3 pi, so 1 pi, 2 pi, 3 pi, I'm back on this line, out 3. 3 pi over 4, so this would be 1 pi over 4, 2 pi over 4, 3 pi over 4 would be here. That's 3 pi over 4. But notice that the distance is negative. So instead of going out 4, it's actually going backwards 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's try this one. Okay, so this is 45. This would be 30. This would be 60. Okay, so I'm just marking them so it'd be a little bit easier. 3, 60. So try these yourself. Pause the video. And then you can check your answers. 60 degrees, I'm going out 3 steps. 1, 2, 3. Here's A. Pi over 4, but I'm going backwards 3. 1, 2, 3. B. 0 steps at negative 5 pi over 6. Well, it doesn't matter what angle I'm at. If I'm not going any steps, I'm at the center. Now, what if we were asked to convert? Well, let's remember some things. Remember that our tangent of an angle is equal to the y value over the x value. Also, r squared is equal to x squared plus y squared. So if I have the point 5, that would be out 5 and then up 5. So we're talking about the point 5 right here. And what I want to find is this angle and the r, the radius. So I'm going to use what I'm given here. So I'm going to find the r first. So 5 squared plus 5 squared, 25 plus 25, that's 50. So r equals the square root of 50. That's going to be 5 root 2. Tangent of the angle equals y over x. So 5 over 5. Tangent equals 1. Now, I could do the arc tangent in my calculator, or I could look at my unit circle and figure out where does tangent equal 1. So if I do the arctan in my calculator, notice it just gives me pi over 4. So let me see if that works. Would that be in this quadrant? It is. So this is pi over 4. Let's look at the next one. Square root of 6 and a negative square root of 2. So that would be actually in this quadrant. Here's that point. Square root of 6, negative square root of 2. Okay, so let's get the r first. R squared equals x squared plus y squared. R squared equals the square root of 6 squared plus negative square root of 2 squared. So that would be 6 plus 2. R squared is 8. That'd be 2 root 2. Tangent of the angle is going to be y over x. So if I do arctan negative square root of 2 divided by square root of 6, it tells me that's negative pi over 6. Now, I agree that could be a negative pi over 6. That would be going backwards. But let's talk about what you might see on a multiple choice. So, I forgot to write this as a point, didn't I? R theta. R theta. Well, negative pi over 6 is not the only way to describe that angle. So that's talking about this angle. But what if I wanted to know this one? Well, if I added 2 pi to that, so negative pi over 6 plus 2 pi would be 11 pi over 6. And that would also be a correct point. Now let's look at the relationship between polar and rectangular coordinates a little bit more. What if we had to go the other way? Well, let's think about our relationships again. So x, y. What if I only knew the angle and the radius? Well, let's get x involved. X is adjacent, so that would be cosine of the angle equals x over r. Let's see, sine of the angle equals y over r. If I solve for x, I would get that x equals r times the cosine of theta, and y equals r times the sine of theta. Now, on the unit circle, we just said that x was cosine. Well, that's because the radius was 1. Here, we don't always have a radius of 1. So, to find the x value, we're going to take the r times cosine of the angle. And to find the y value, it's going to be r times sine of the angle. And so I'm going to do 4 cosine pi over 6, and I get 2 square root of 3. Then 4 sine pi over 6, and that is 2. So my point is at 2 square root of 3, comma 2. X equals r times cosine of the angle. Y equals r sine of the angle. And I'm just going to show you what I am literally typing this in. 2 square root of 2. And you have to kind of be careful here. You want to make sure you're not still underneath that square root. Oh, I did not need to open parentheses. Cosine of 5 pi over 4. Got negative 2. Let me do this next one and talk about what I was just saying. If I don't press the right arrow right now, I'm underneath the square root. So if I press sine right now, it's putting sine under the square root. I don't want it there. So I'm going to press the right arrow a little bit. And now when I press sine, it's not under that square root symbol. Got negative 2. Oh, that makes sense. The x's and y's were always the same at those pi over 4s, all those 45-degree angles. So, a rectangular equation is x and y. A polar equation has r and theta. So here's all the rules that we've just played with. Tangent of theta equals y over x. R squared equals x squared plus y squared. And if we want to convert an equation from rectangular to polar, That means we're trying to get everything with r's and thetas. So, let's see. There's a couple of things I could do here. I could just replace everything with x is r cosine theta, and y is r sine theta. But now I'm supposed to solve for r, so I've got to be kind of careful with doing that. Now I've got, let's see, I'd have to multiply those, square those. Now I could divide both sides by r. And that would give me r times cosine squared theta equals 4 sine theta. Then divide by cosine squared. And get r equals 4 sine theta over cosine squared theta. Now this could be written a different way, because this could be written as sine over cosine times 1 over cosine. I want you to realize that, because on multiple choice, they could write it that way or write it this way. There's a lot of different ways. So now we have r equals that. X squared plus y squared equals 9. Well, x squared plus y squared is r squared. R is, oh, this is just giving me a circle with a radius of 3. That's pretty cool. Okay, let's try going backwards. Let me rewrite secant as 1 over cosine. Let's see, and I'm trying to get this to be a rectangular equation. Ooh, I got an idea. What if I multiply both sides by cosine? Well, that would give me r cosine equals 5. R cosine is x. I get the equation x equals 5. Okay. R equals 2 sine theta. Well, I'd really like that to be an r there. I'll just multiply both sides by r. And now I've got r squared equals 2r sine theta. Well, this is x squared plus y squared equals 2y. And I've got only in terms of x's and y's. I've done my job. And that's all in 5.1.